The New York Mets, the June swoon is upon them, but it is no longer June. It was a tough month of June for the Mets, especially that second half. It was another June swoon. By the way, anyone not familiar, that is what they call it in Mets fandom, and can't argue with it at this point. It is pretty much a recurring thing. They lost 13 of the last 16 games, and just so you know, a lot of these statistics are through yesterday, like in the middle of the day, so they might have played better last night. I've been away, so I hang out with my son, so just please don't get super mad at me. But going into the weekend, they were swept through Sunday anyway. They were swept by the worst team, well, one of the worst teams in the National League, and outscored 30-4 by the Pittsburgh Pirates at home. Nobody likes to see that ever, especially right now with the type of skid they're on, 3-13 in their last 13 going into the day yesterday. In the month of June, they have been injured as hell, and I want to talk a little bit about what's going on and then maybe what we can cross our fingers for moving forward in the future, because even despite all of this, they're still close to the Phillies in first place. They are still very competitive, and they did not fall under 500, so that just shows how good the team was at the beginning of the year. But they have been crushed by injuries. They have lost Tyler McGill. They lost Griffin Canning for the year to the Achilles. Don't watch that video. Don't look it up. Kodai Senga is banged up and gone down, and Sean Manaea, last year's kind of hero of the rotation, has not made a start yet this year. And he was a guy we penciled in as one of their big pieces of the rotation now. And he hasn't made any effect on this season. But he is on his way, and he is throwing, so there is a positive there. I think that it goes to show, and this is all pitchers, by the way, it just goes to show like how much the guys who filled in, the Tyler McGills and the Griffin Cannings and even the Paul Blackburns, of the rotation have filled in while the guys were hurt at the beginning of the year. They did such a good job that it was probably inevitable that they came down to earth a little bit, and we saw that happen. You can put David Peterson in that group, even though he has been great for the last 2 years. He's had a little bit of regression, had some mistakes taken advantage of against good lineups, and he is still throwing really well, but, adjusted a little bit. So injuries have not helped them, and the starting pitching has not been great in the last couple weeks. It's been 14 games since a starter got an out in the 6th inning. Now, as a bullpen guy, looking at going into the day, and you think that there is no way that your starting pitcher is going to go deep enough in this game where at least 4 relievers are going to pitch. That is if the game's close. That can wear on you as well. That can wear on the 8 guys down there because they are covering just a couple more outs. Maybe there's guys having to warm up, one extra guy having to warm up. And when that happens for 2 weeks consistently, suddenly you see the bullpen start to show some cracks as well. So we don't want that to happen. But unfortunately, when you lose out on this many innings from the starters, things aren't going very well. And you know what? It is the middle of the summer. There's kind of, I talk about this a lot, but there's kind of 2 dog days of summers areas in during the season, right? It's 162 games, so you're gonna have these roller coasters of like energy and then other times where it gets monotonous. It could get very lackadaisical very easily if you don't get a little help or get a little bit of extra rest or what have you. And one of those areas is mid-June, where the All-Star break's still far enough away to where we're not that close. But it's starting to warm up. It's starting to get really hot in most places for the first time, so you're dealing with the heat. And every team experiences this a little bit, unless this is when they get all their young guys to infuse them with guys who haven't been there the whole time. That's the best way to kind of avoid. The June swoon kind of applies to everybody at some point. The Mets just seem to get hit by it every single year. But there is a little bit of I need a second win here. I need a break. And that All-Star break starts to look more and more and more enticing as you get closer. Now, one of the hardest things to do in baseball is not look forward, but this is something that is common. This is something that happens, and it is one of the hardest times to make huge lasting adjustments because of everything I just mentioned, right? You're like, your body is getting a little tired, and getting a day off here and there might be necessary. But if you need to work on a bunch of stuff, you gotta have to balance the rest with the work, and that is much easier said than done. In this last half of this month specifically, but in the month of June, the offense has slowed down a little bit, and honestly, the offense really hasn't been very clutch all year, as they are hitting, they're 29th in the league, hitting .217 with runners in scoring position. One of the biggest, I think, purveyors or one of the people doing this the most is the $750 million man, Juan Soto, right? So he has not been clutch, but historically he is very clutch. So I would not expect that number to stay low, and I would not expect the Mets to continue to be 29th in the league there. I think this is going to get better. That's like one of those so bad, the lineup's too good for it to be that bad for too long. They've also struggled a little bit in the back end of the lineup, which honestly is kind of hurting a lot of teams. The Phillies were struggling with it for a while. The Braves are really, honestly, if anybody's struggling with not getting any production beyond the fifth hitter in the lineup, it is the Atlanta Braves as well. So at least the other two teams that they are competing against are also having those same issues of getting production at the back end of that lineup. And Francisco Alvarez gets sent down, so he's, to work on some stuff. Hopefully he figures that out quickly and comes up and is able to kind of add some thump back there. Mark Vientos isn't Mark Vientos from last year. He is hitting 220 with 645 and has been banged up and only has 6 home runs. But them bringing back Pete Alonso was a big reason, was big for them. Had they not done that, they would have been putting even more. He can figure things out without it being so glaring, and hopefully that is also what's happening as well. And like I mentioned, let's just bring this all the way back because the Mets, June swoon, you never want to see it. There are some things to look forward to. So let's touch on some hope. I want to end with a little bit of hope here in our opening dialogue, and that is Sean Manaea is throwing and will likely rejoin the team, if I had to guess, a little bit after the All-Star break. The All-Star break is going to be that kind of switch flipping time, and I hope we see a healthy, high-quality Sean Manaea. He's doing the work. Them getting him is going to be big to help anchor the front of that rotation. Number 2, Juan Soto is getting red hot in the last 30 games. He is triple slashing, .317 average, 465 on base, and a .713 slugging. Good for over 1,000 OPS, and he's got 12 home runs in that time. That is the Juan Soto that you paid for. That is the Juan Soto you started to get. Now, the clutch needs to come along with that, but once he gets hot, usually gets hot all the time. And another positive thing is Pete Alonso's been pretty rock solid all year. No major slumps. He's gotten, cut up a little bit. He's been had good pitching, do well against him a little bit, but for the most part, Pete Alonso is still raking, and Mets fans should be very excited that Pete Alonso is still on their team. So, what do we need to do? Scrape across just a couple of wins. See if you can split some series. See if you can just steal a couple series and get to the All-Star break with a solid striking distance record intact, because once these guys get going, there is not another team that will be able to hang, and I know that will happen. I know that they know that will happen. And when your team is banged up, especially guys who are technically healthy, but have some nagging stuff going on, best thing you can do is get some rest, and the All-Star break, it's right there. It's literally right there. You can see it. It's right there. And though they are going to have a bunch of All-Stars, hopefully those 3-4 days will get them that blow that they need and possibly get the guys like Sean Manaea back to put them in a position to go on a run here. And if I have to make a prediction, I think the Mets win the division. That's all I'm saying. I'm not biased. Anyway, I want to know what you think. And also, quick credit to Will Salmon from The Athletic for a lot of the reporting that went into this report. So Will Salmon, thank you so much for your service, my friend. New York Mets, do you think they can do it? You think they're ready to make a comeback here? Do you think they're ready to turn it on? Do you think they're going to take it to the finish line? Let me know down in the chat/comment.